This week's Lionheart Player of the Week is Riley Stevens of the Flying Squirrels. Riley was an absolute beast on defense. She's been getting better and better every week. And last night, as her coach described her, she was a menace, a force to be reckoned with on defense. Flagpole after flagpole, including a safety for her team. Riley did a tremendous job. If there was an award given to growth in this league, Riley would definitely get that role. She is just coming on late in the season and becoming an incredible defender. And last night, she began to run the ball, almost scored her first touchdown of the season. She's doing a fantastic job. For her efforts, Riley is our Lionheart Player of the Week. This week's Exquisite Lawn Care Coach of the Week is Cassidy Bascom of the Polar Bears. Cassidy was a late addition to our coaching staff this season. We were looking for coaches, and Cassidy just happened to be there and stepped up and said, you know what, I'll do it. And she's done a phenomenal job. She's gotten a little help this year, but she stepped up this week in particular when she wasn't feeling well, didn't know that she could make the game or if she'd be able to, but she showed up anyway. The kids love her. She does a great job of communication. She's always spot on with that. And for stepping up and just being an all-around great person, Cassidy, you are our Coach of the Week, sponsored by Exquisite Irrigation and Lawn Care.
All right, welcome to episode 51 with Winning with the Home Team. I'm Katrina.
I'm Todd.
And man, today, we run recreational leagues, right? And sometimes it may, like if you've listened to podcasts before this, it may seem like we're pretty hard on select sports.
Yeah, sure.
But inevitably, we do understand we're not against select sports, and we've said that over and over again. But inevitably, there may be a time when your kid, just wants a higher level of play. And again, we've said before, there's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. So this podcast is for parents, and guardians who, are at a point where their kid needs a little bit more. And so today we'll talk about if you're dipping into the select or the club world, when you are trying to identify a team for your kid to be on, how do you discern what type of coach gets to be with your kid? I think a lot of times, a coach will come up to you, like say if you're in the gym, and they'll say, man, your kid is really good. I hear this a lot. Yeah. Your kid is really good. Like, you know what? You guys should come play with me. Oh, and by the way, it's $10,000 or whatever, right? There's a lot of affirmation that takes place on the coach's end, right? I mean, he wants to build his team, or she wants to build her team. But how do you distinguish what's right for your kid? So that's what we'll talk about today. And I could think of no one more perfect for this topic than Coach DeVaun Stewart. DeVaun, what's up?
How we doing, y'all?
Yeah, welcome. Yeah.
Thank y'all for having me.
For sure.
You're welcome.
Real honor.
I got to know you probably about 6 months ago when you were just playing basketball in the gym. And since then, you have led our Biggs basketball camp. And, I mean, Todd, you know this. I'm a little bit of a control freak.
No, that's not true.
So, I mean, I'll admit that. But, man, y'all, DeVaun, you were so good.
Yeah.
And I should not have been so – I mean, I wasn't surprised, but it just gave me the ability to step back and let you do your thing because I trusted who you were as a brother in Christ. I trusted your heart. We had had many conversations before that. And the kids loved you.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your background in sports, all the things. And what makes you qualified to even talk about this subject? Because you are.
Thank you so much. Just to be very brief, like for the longest time in my yesterday, I really did not. I was just playing the game. I didn't know there was a calling from the player to now coach. And, you know, you get so caught up into an identity whenever you play.
Yeah.
Hearing others tell you that you're this and that. And then whenever you find out real quick, like there's more than just the game, you know? And even just, and not to really go down a rabbit hole, it's just like I've been around this since I was 4 years old. You know what I mean? And I've been blessed to really be around the game that long.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing that we have to really, really, really remember is that, and especially like whenever we're talking about being qualified, the qualification is whenever he's calls you to do
That's
something.
good.
You know what I mean? Because you can find yourself in certain areas where you're like, I don't feel qualified for this camp or this organization or this club. And then it's like, you know, you find out like real quick, whenever I came to y'all's camp, I was the first time I could just relax. You know what I mean? And knowing that was realizing what the true call was, you know, and that's just loving what you do and then loving the kids while you do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's been my biggest qualification, you know.
Yeah.
I really love it. But more so, kids love it, but you have to love them first before you tell them to love the game. You know what I mean? Before they can like buy into you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, DeVaun, will you tell us a little bit about your background in basketball specifically?
Yes. Went to Mansfield High, played under Richie Alfred. And then my freshman year, I was at Kennedale High School, and that was like, it was such a shift for me just because even growing up as a kid, I was all over the place. So growing up as a kid, you grow up in West Texas where basketball is very different. Then you go to Kansas where basketball is very different. Like you literally are learning the fundamentals first.
Yeah.
So then you move out here and everybody's playing the street ball, the
Yeah.
and one, and you're like, oh man, I don't know how to play basketball. Literally, you do know how to play basketball, but you're seeing the kids do things that you think is cool, and you think that, oh, well, I don't play that way, knowing that you've been taught the right way, so you want to learn how to play a different way because it looks a certain way, right?
Yeah.
So then you go to high school, and then middle school, you're also just trying to find yourself after bouncing around, you know, being the child of a coach and what that is.
Yeah.
So you're literally learning as you grow up as a kid. So you know the game, but then once you get to high school, everything that you learn, you're in question about, like, am I doing this the right way? You know? So then whenever you're in high school, you're trying to please others, you're hearing others, and then you're not playing with like the moral aspect. You're hearing everybody tell you this good, this, that, you got this, right? Then you go to college, and then playing
Where'd
under
you go to college?
West Texas A&M, my freshman year.
Okay.
And that was where you learned you weren't as good as you thought you were. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because everybody's telling you that you're this. And even whenever you get around teammates, you know, you're the youngest guy on the team. You got older guys like, hey, you need to go do this, go play. We play JUCO. You can go be a JUCO 1 year and go play Division I after. So you're hearing all of that, going away from what you know, from hearing other people's opinion, you know? So now you're fighting the identity aspect. So then you're trying to, what you didn't know as a teenager and as a young adult is like you're slowly but surely becoming a follower. And going to listening to everybody tell you something instead of just listening to a coach get on to you and learn the game that you need to learn, you know? You get humble pie very fast, you know? Because then you go to a junior college that everybody's told you, and then you find out, oh, this guy's transferred from Colorado, a Division I campus. This guy's transferred from USC. This guy's transferred from Texas A&M.
So what JUCO did you go to?
Navarro Junior College under Johnny and Stell.
Got it.
And that's where lifed, you know? You know, you're dealing with things at home. You're dealing with identity, you know, you've been raised the right way morally, you know, mothers didn't make sure you're prayed up, staying in the Bible. By the time 16 came, I became the rebellious, you know what I mean? Very rebellious. So that like was a domino effect, you know, to where whenever life started happening, you lost sight of what you really loved, because now you're just there playing basketball, and then it's just stressful.
Yeah.
Then you're in question just because this moment is happening. Now you can't even focus in on what you need to focus in on. And then just like whenever you're starting to test things, okay, we're going to a party we're not supposed to be going. We go, we find out the consequences because of it. These guys are doing this. Well, these are my teammates, so if they're doing it, it's not going to hurt them.
Right.
Oh, we're supposed to be taking care of ourselves, you know? But who's telling us that? Nobody. So we're all following each other down a path, you know? So, and that's why it's very hard for me to revisit, because I'm like, that cloud has shifted. But at the same time, you have to be reminded, because it's like now there's a generation, hundreds, thousands, millions of kids that are doing that same very thing at an earlier age. So everything that I was able to avoid, the troubles that I was trying to avoid, you literally just like, I had to sit still. You know, he took it away.
When did he take? When did God take basketball away? You're in. You spent your freshman year at Kennedale. Okay, and then you went to Mansfield High under Richie, Alfred, and then you went to West Texas for college, and then you went back to Navarro for JUCO, and then when did he take it away?
Whenever I went somewhere and I wasn't supposed to be there.
Okay, got a little bit of trouble.
Yep. Yeah. And it's literally as simple as just like, again, you're following what you know not to do, and then it costs you.
Yeah.
You know? Could have been studying for the test.
How long did it take you out?
What do you mean by take you out? Like
when he took it away?
It was... So my mother's a very, like, resourceful person, right? So whenever the storm happened, you're like, Mom, can you help me? She's like, nope, you make your bed, you lay in it. You figure it out. You know, you've been kind of doing your own thing. You want to be grown, figure it out. That was like the love, the unconditional love that I didn't understand. Because it was like everything that she would try to tell me, I'm just like, well, you don't want to understand. You ain't never, you know, so it becomes like a thing between you and Mom, but it's like you really didn't hear Mom.
Yeah.
Because you were trying to find any way to make a blame for what you did.
Yeah.
Do you think, because you coach a lot of kids these days, do you think parents are like your mom for the most part, or do you think it's different?
It's very different. And whenever I say different, you know, like I said, make your bed, you lay in it, you know. It takes years to build character. It can be gone in 5 seconds. You know what I mean? That was something that she really instilled. And then it's like 5 seconds was 8 minutes. You know what I mean?
So then if it's different than what you went through, how does a parent in today's society, in your experience, what is the difference?
They're definitely going to, more so than what they hear, they're going to say, my kid would never.
And take the side of the kid.
And I don't want to say take the side of the kid, but before they can hear the problem, they're going to try to they're going to defend. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's nothing wrong, but I don't know, because I'm not a parent at all by any means. But at the same time, I'm thinking that parents are like kind of like embarrassed that it was their kid that got in trouble. You know what I mean?
It's a natural reaction.
Yes. Nobody wants to, but it's like there's the beauty in that. Like the kids have to fall forward so you don't fall back. Because Revelation is whenever it takes a long time for a 20-year-old kid to find himself once you get in trouble or being at the wrong place at the wrong time. It took me to about 28 to start getting that light on. You know what I mean? Because it's like once you start, start working, get money, you know? Buy a fast car, you know? Still rebellious. Mom says, don't buy that car.
But you don't listen to Mom.
Yeah, because now I'm still trying to prove something to someone that loves me unconditionally.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you're not aware of that problem that you have because you're just so busy on trying to blame for your mistakes, you know? So it's just a domino effect.
Sure.
And then once you really bump your head and you're like, all right, well, Mom says that you need to start putting some Jesus in your life.
Yeah.
And that was like, you know, you're still like, you're hearing it, but you're not saying nothing anymore. You know what I mean? You can't talk back at this point because Mom is literally modeling the example. You know, I'm still worried about what somebody has to say about me whenever she's just like, you can't worry about what people say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's been the beauty in understanding, like, are our parents doing that for our kids? You know what I mean? Because it's like, if we're defending them first, we're not seeing the beauty within, like, the mistake. Because
Or just what we talked about in the last podcast, you know, failure. Like, how, you know.
Recovering from
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
And I don't think failure is so strong. Like, it's like, because you can't call it failure. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's, respectfully, I don't think it's called failure. Because what is failure? Whenever you're still learning every single day.
Yeah.
None of us have this thing, life, figured out.
Yeah.
He told us that way before time. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, everybody makes mistakes, but he gives us that justice. You know what I mean? And then just to, whenever you have that real, like, whenever you really, like, find people that see the good in you, just because you don't know what's good in you, you're just trying to please others. Like, it's the most beautiful thing. You
So
know?
let's go there. Right. So, you know, you've been in basketball your whole life, essentially. And for listeners out there who, you know, who want to get their kid in a select sport or a club sport, and, you know, a coach comes up to them and says, hey, your kid is good. What are some practical things in your experience that you would say, hey, you may want to look out for these things in a coach, good or bad?
Do you want to say good or bad first? I'll say good.
Let's go with good.
Yeah.
The good thing is, like, if you coach, there's something about kids that you really, like, it's good that you want to, like, quote unquote, see some good in a kid. But is it for the desire or for the good for the kid? Like, are you trying to elevate your name because of this kid? Are you really trying to do some good for this
So
kid?
How does a mom-
parent,
yeah,
how does
yeah.
a parent discern that
Yeah.
when they see a coach?
I think that this is the hardest question to really answer because parents are really unaware of today's time with the way basketball is. Back whenever we were growing up, it's just like, hey, just find 5 kids that love to play and then get in a minivan and, you know, and it didn't cost anything.
Right.
Now you got this thing.
You got the money.
It's become a transaction.
Right.
So even whenever you can, like, hey, offer somebody, like, hey, just come check this out. You can come for free, but a parent really isn't aware because they feel like before you can even tell them, hey, your kid is special, but this may need to be fixed. But the first thing they're going to say is, how much do you charge?
Yeah.
And I'm like, hold on, like, let me just, like, work him out. Like, you know what I mean? Or work her out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because there's been a thing that I've realized is just, like, if a parent is really trying to find a home, it's like once people, and I'm not saying everybody.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to make anybody upset with this or make some people aware, you know, of their own things that they got to fix. But if you're putting a dollar or a desire for that, it's the hardest thing for a parent because I think parents just have to really realize, like, do you love my kid whenever they are doing good, whenever they're doing bad? And for me, it's just you gotta love kids, and I think in the select world, it's like a real warfare with that, if I'm being honest.
Well, we've heard it over and over again. You know, there's a lot of coaches that are just a transactional coach rather than someone who seeks after, you know, transformation, you know, whether that be in a kid's skill or even in his heart, which, I mean, the sport is set up to do. I mean, yeah, wins are good, but it's all about the character. I don't care what level that you're in, you know, you still have character to build. And so Talk a little bit about the difference between a transactional coach and a coach that is interested in someone's transformation.
And this is just the domino effect of it. Because if I'm thinking about an AAU world, select world where people are, you have to worry about if people are going to fight at the end of the game.
Yeah.
You can go to a high school game, it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to the field house, it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever now we're talking about the YMCA, it's really warfare.
Mm-hmm.
Like we are in a scary time, you know? And I truly believe, like, just with time and evolution, is just we have to just really find out that if you're coming to coach, my response to all this is just make sure that you're called for the bigger call and just getting this mess resolved.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to put it out there because there's so many places where, and we found out this summer where we're going to go instill in kids, and none of these kids are really receiving love first, you know? And basketball is a game that we all love, but I think that there's more kids still coaching in today's time, you know? And
kids that are still trying, by that statement, do you mean
like
kids that are still trying to get championships because they didn't get them in years past, or something different?
You said it. I didn't want to say that, but it's just like we're living through something that we didn't fulfill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There was a fulfillment that wasn't
or feeling like, let me just see what somebody else is doing, do it, charge, now I have a business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's just where, that's the problem. That's the war that we're in, because basketball didn't become a business till so late.
So on that note, is AAU or select ball, has that become, I mean, we've talked before about how like Little League is being almost phased out, and everybody's playing select ball, right? So is that the new norm now? It's just, a cash grab for a lot of people?
I truly believe so. Now, now again, there's not every place.
No.
Not every place. 'Cause,
Sure.
I can brag on several AAU coaches and,
Right. So
it's just that my biggest thing is just knowing that it's going to cost to go train with someone. It's going to cost to go play for someone. And it's just rare sights whenever you can just say, like, hey, what about the kids that can't afford this?
Yeah. Right.
Who's instilling in those kids, you know? But it's like, and that's where some people aren't even fortunate to pay for this stuff. So now, like, whereas I look at people whose mothers or fathers that couldn't have done it whenever you were a kid. So what makes you think you got to charge somebody now?
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And even more so, that's where it kind of bothers me with that, because it's just something that doesn't have to really giving kids unconditional love shouldn't have a price. You know what I mean?
So if I'm a dad of a child, let's say I'm a dad of a daughter, and I bring her to you and I say, hey, like, she wants to play for you. You're going to work her out first before you do anything else?
Because here's the thing. I got to find out how hard you want it.
Mm-hmm.
Because before I can care if you can make a jump shot or touch the top of the rim, I got to figure out, are you going to be concerned about giving your all whenever your shot isn't falling? Are you going to be concerned about being a teammate?
Yeah.
Because that's the skills that it takes, that you got to, like, that's what you have to do whenever you play. You have to be selfless. I say this all the time, the most selfless player.
Yeah.
And you have to be selfish at being selfless. And that's the problem. Because everybody's chasing, like, the glory. You know what I mean? Now, again, if kids aren't being instilled that, if you see a coach on the sideline that's bringing more attention to themselves than the actual kids themselves,
Yeah.
that's not a coach.
That's the problem.
That's not a
Yeah.
coach. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's someone that wants to be seen. That's someone who has an identity, you know, and I mean, bless them, you know, because maybe there's something missing there that we don't know. You know what I mean? But at the same time, that's where the domino effect, whenever I'm hearing parents that have kids that are very talented and have ability, but the kids are affected based off of what that coach has taken away from them, that love. You know what I mean?
Do you think most parents are willing to let their kids go through that anyway, just so that they can say they're
I
playing?
know some that will,
Yeah.
you know, and bless those parents, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because that's just like, that's the life part. You're not going to always get what you want, you know what I mean? So grow through that. Because where the problem happens then is like, well, let's go try this team.
Yeah.
Let's go try this team.
Right.
Let's go try this team. And now we have kids at high school. Let's go try
Yeah.
this team.
Yeah.
Let's go try this team. And now even college, let's go try this team.
Yeah.
Let's go try this
Yeah.
team. And guess what? Now we're talking about the dollar again at every level of play.
So it seems like at every entry point, whether it be a recreational league or select league or a junior high or a high school
Right.
or a college, you get to pick and choose.
And guess
know what
what?
you wanna
Guess
do.
what? Let's guess what? Let's say you're 6'8", sixth grader, can dunk.
Yeah.
Come play with me this weekend. You don't have to pay a dime.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens a lot, huh?
All of a sudden.
Yeah.
So now, and
And what does this say to the other players on the team, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's where it.
Right.
oh, this kid's good. He's
Yeah.
going to come in because
Yeah.
we need him
he
to win.
borrowed for a
Yeah,
weekend.
that's
you
a
know what I mean?
transact. I mean, that's
Transaction.
a transaction. Yeah.
So now that kid feels like, yay, I don't have to pay.
Right.
Yeah.
So now it's like I'm digging, you know.
And then he
whoever-
doesn't have to work hard.
So,
And yeah.
Yeah.
but to your point, on the other end of the spectrum, you have the kids that are on the roster that, like for baseball, like, for example, coach goes out and sees, oh, this kid can hit. I'm going to offer him a spot on my team. And then the kid at the bottom of the lineup, all of a sudden, there's no room for him on
Yeah.
the team.
Right.
And so then you get
And
back
then they're
into-
still paying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my thing. If you're bringing a kid like for a weekend and they're not paying $1, that's a problem. Because now you're using that kid,
Right.
but you're calling yourself a coach.
Yeah.
You're not coaching a kid.
You're just looking for talent.
You're using
Yeah.
the kid, and then you're hurting the other kids that aren't
Yeah.
able to grow, that have a potential to grow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where it bothers me, and that's why it's kind of like where, like, I'm so serious. Whenever y'all literally like calmed me down this summer whenever I worked y'all's camp, because it's just like anywhere I went, it's just like it's the same thing. You know what I mean? Or anybody that you try to go help, like, hey, you can do this, you can teach this to your kids, but it's like if you're telling me that they need to be learning stuff. Like, I'm gonna ask y'all a quick question. Do y'all know what a Verajal screen is?
No.
Nope.
Right. Sixth graders are being told what last time I checked, a sixth grader isn't 6'10". You know what I mean? And the kids that
Yeah.
aren't going to be 6'10" don't need to be learning about Verajal screens.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And my biggest thing is like, before a kid dribbles a ball, are you teaching them how to catch and face up? Are you teaching them just have energy?
Yeah.
But you're teaching them that wrong energy. And then even just going into certain places where you're seeing people that try to instill, but it's like the wrong instill. Like I say, I'm not gonna coach a kid and they're not gonna be calling me bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or bruh.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Right.
And it's just like
There's a
so
respect,
there's
but- yeah.
so there's that. That's where parents
Yeah.
have to have that eye.
Right.
If you can just look at that
Yeah.
and find out, like, you're supposed to be teaching some of the things that I'm teaching my kids at home. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
That's really what a coach is.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we got to realize that ball is going to stop. You know, basketball is not for us to think about we're going to go to the NBA or we're going to go to the WNBA or go to college. We don't know what's going to happen because God
Yeah.
can let us know real quick.
Right.
Let me ask you guys this. Based on the conversation that we're having right now, like, what percentage would you say, as far as parents, what percentage, well, this comes to a definition standpoint. The question that I was going to ask is what percentage of parents whose kids are going to play at the next level, is this even a question for them? Like, do they even know how, is it important to them? Is it important who coaches their kid and what they're made out of.
Yeah, I knew where you were going with that when you first started.
But then you have to define what's good.
Exactly. Exactly. But I think the answer to that question is no, they don't care.
And that makes me sad.
I know. And again, that's not a blanket statement. I mean, that is a blanket statement. And maybe you can't make that blanket statement.
Yeah.
But it certainly seems that that's the case.
But I do 100% believe that every parent wants the best for their kid.
Absolutely.
It's just the definition of what best is in their eyes.
Yes.
Right. But when we're talking about the kids that we're raising, it can't all be about the wins or the success of a coach based on his accolades or how many championships he's won. Like we have to ask the right question. Yeah. And maybe that's where we should have started.
That's probably
is how do you ask the right question to a coach?
Yeah.
When Coach Buzz, he's not at A&M anymore, is he?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
When Coach Buzz comes up to you and says, "Your kid's good, come play for me."
Yeah.
As a parent, what questions do you need to ask Coach Buzz?
Right. Yeah, because I want to know, what are you going to do with my young man, right? Like if my son is going to come play for you, like I love watching college coaches that go into the living room and sit down with the parents and talk to the parents.
Yeah.
Because, and the good ones will say, you find out a lot about the kid through the parents. And I want to know as a parent, what's your plan to take my boy and bring home a man at the end of 4 years?
Yeah.
Right.
Because he's going to be around you a lot more than he's around me.
Right.
So same thing with a select coach. My kid is going to spend more hours with you than he does in my own home.
Yeah, and that kid's going to listen to that coach
To
way
everything
more
that comes out of his
than
mouth.
it likely. I mean, hopefully the kid listens to his dad, but inevitably,
Right.
I mean, to your point.
But if you're doing it right, like, what do you stand for, coach? Like, what do you tolerate? Where's the accountability? Where does wins factor in versus, developing my kid? Like, all those kinds of questions.
Right. And to touch on that, I think that's the thing that we are all, some of us that do love kids, we are all like drained because it's just what we can offer is not the offer that people want. You know what I mean? It's just like,
describe that. Go into detail about that.
Going back to the love aspect, if you just know that if your kid doesn't make his bed at home, you know what I mean? And we're like talking about them just consistently doing things around the home. Like if I'm talking about your kid being lazy, but he's lazy around the home, why are you questioning anything?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're still raising, that's the village effect. If a real coach sees a kid, you're going to correct them beyond like the mistakes that you're going to have in a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just even just some of the things that I've noticed whenever kids are like y'all know y'all wouldn't do this at home. So why are you sagging your pants now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your grandfather would give you that talk.
Right.
So why are you trying to be something that you're not? So it's like now we're trying to please others again because of what we do that I play basketball or I'm the best player, so nobody's going to correct me.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's the parents that are working all the time. There's the parents that are just dropping them off and just, so
They're not involved.
There's a lot of parents that want to have an opinion whenever they don't have the dominion. You know what I mean? And it's just, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to drop the mic on that, but that's like, you want to have so much to say, but it's like we have to love so much harder sometimes. There's so many stories that kids will share. And it's like, you're like not trying to, but you sometimes have to be that, not parent, but like whatever that coach is. I don't know what the term is.
Yeah.
But a real coach is going to have to fulfill voids that they're not being received at home.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have experience where even taking Taya to gymnastics.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff do you want to see out of it? Because we've had that conversation where you've taken her, like, what do you want to see out of an instructor or a coach, even for a daughter at 6 years old?
Yeah. I mean, I think it has to be high. I think that Dr. Chris Harper mentioned this in some previous podcasts. but you have to be affirming. You have to be positive, especially for for a 6, 7, even 8-year-old. And if you're not those things, then chances are I'm not going to sign up with you.
Right.
At the same time, you have to push them as well. Like you can't just have them do rollovers and gymnastics and say, hey, you're doing a good job. So I think it just has to be equal parts of push and then equal parts of affirmation.
Yeah. That's good. I can distinctly remember, as far as, playing and being a dad are two different things, right? And I feel like playing, I mean, first of all, it's a completely different time, but when I'm playing, I want to be pushed by my coaches. Like, push me as hard as you can, make me better. As a parent, there's an aspect of it where you're like, okay, that's my baby boy out there, So there's a little bit of that to it. But what meant the most to me, and I knew when I found a good coach, is the first time that my son was playing on a select team where the coach said, parents, you're not welcome at the discussion after the game. Respectfully, I'm going to treat your boys like men. And if there's conversations that need to be had with me, I'm open to it 100%. And he was extremely approachable. But when it came time to deal with the kids, he was going to deal with the kids. If they were late to practice, he understands the parents have to get them there, but they needed to be responsible for why were you late for practice today, right? And there was a lot. Like, I respected the fact that there was a text message chain between the coach and the boys.
Yeah.
No parent was a part of it. You know. Now there was accountability part to that too, but with the parents, but. The coach did everything he could to make sure he was teaching and like you're saying, pouring into those kids.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, that meant a lot to me.
Right. And it's just, the irony is like where I let parents know real quick, hey, you really don't have a say so if y'all are the reason why this kid is late. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to push enough to where if you want to critique so much, make sure that y'all are here on time. You know what I mean? That way this kid isn't rusty whenever they show up. You know what I mean? Or even just like they're already going to be mentally like trying to focus in, but they can't focus in because y'all have so much to say while they're playing.
But I'll tell you what it did do is if they were late, it was going to be because I made them late. Because what happened was, why are you late today? If it was because your shirt was still in the dryer or your bag wasn't packed, that stuff got put out on the table. And real quick, they learned, okay, I need to be ready to go.
Absolutely.
When mom can take me or dad can take me, my bag is packed. I'm all in and I'm ready to go.
Absolutely.
It stopped that real quick. And so there was growth in that. And that's how I know that the coach was pouring into them, not as ball players, but as young men.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's good. This has been good. Thank you, Coach.
No, for sure. Y'all have no idea. Like I said, it's just been a crazy journey, you know, since 3 years old. And now I'm just like, just to kind of really remember everything that came with it and just being grateful that there's so many people that are affected, you know. So whenever you really have a calling, you know why he sent you, you know.
Well, you definitely impacted those bigs during basketball camp.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so thank you for that.
Yeah, most definitely. I hope that I didn't scare anybody off.
No.
No.
Not
at all. Not at all. She'll be back in control.
Right.
No, that's not true. No, that's not true.
And you know what? It was just funny because Katrina, like, seriously, like, I think it was just awesome that whenever we were doing things, you would actually like get out there and do it. And there's like, that's another thing that, and if we got to go, I'm sorry. But there's so many people that like that'll tell kids, but won't get out there and make a mistake with a kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if we're teaching, we're not going to teach perfect. You know, we got to like let kids know it's okay to make a mistake, you know, or even show them that we're walking with them. So that's one thing that I was inspired by whenever you were
I make tons of mistakes.
Actually out there, like, and I'm like, look at her trying to get out here.
And, I love it.
No, she was the first one that said, he's doing an amazing job. It was awesome. Yeah.
Thank y'all so much.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And thank you guys for listening. This concludes our episode of 51 podcast. Man, if you haven't checked out any of the other podcasts, go and look and see what we're about. We're all about making sure, that parents, we try to just make sure that parents know how to disciple their kids through sports. And that's why it's so important to understand if you're going into the select or club league, get to know the coach first before you put your son or daughter into that team.
Absolutely.
It's so important because, like you said, they're going to spend a lot of time with that coach. So, so we'll see you guys next week. DeVaun, thank you.
Thank y'all for having me again.
We'll see y'all next week.
Have a good week.
Man, thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed hearing us ramble about youth sports or other strangely interesting sports topics related to families, please go and like and subscribe to the show so that you can get regular updates when a new podcast is released. We'd also love to connect with you. Head on over to our socials. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We're under LC Sports and Recreation.
And if you're new to our podcast, go check out some of our previous episodes on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. There's some good stuff on there. And pay attention because these come out pretty quickly, weekly, as a matter of fact. And you're going to learn a lot about what we have to say with regards to our league and how to win with the home team.